weekend racing. It's time to recap it. And who better to do it than Michael and Magic? Two bros/pros who cover the highs and lows of racing around the globe on every one of their shows. Real fans look forward to these guys and their last stunts, cause they know they're not talking out of their royal ascot. What they say makes sense. So ladies and gents, sit back and relax as Blinkers Off presents The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
And this is Magic Mike Show, episode 331. Mr. Somich.
Huzzah!
Oh boy, we've got a fun day to talk about. Fun.
We really do.
A sports fan, wasn't it?
I am jacked about doing this today. Like, I am seriously excited. We could have our own show just about the best things we saw today, because there are like 15 of them, and the best thing I saw isn't even anything that we have talked about yet, because it is so freaking awesome. So, yeah, today was just wild, man. I mean, you got the Urban Meyer news, which just keeps getting better and better. He kicked the kicker? What? Like,
wait, what?
You didn't hear about this? This is
No.
the straw that broke the camel's back, was that he kicked the kicker in warm-ups when the kicker missed a kick. Like, kicked him in the leg. So, yeah, that after everything else that happened, all the train wrecks, like, that's the thing that actually, the straw that breaks the camel's back. I mean, that was just one of the most, it's got to be like top 5 fails in coaching history, right? I mean, because we have not just the preseason, but 13 weeks of failure, just time and time again, completely lost the entire freaking team. And then he gets fired, and they go from 3-point favorites to 5.5-point favorites in the matter of 15 minutes. He's worth negative 2.5 points, and that's probably light.
That's amazing. So that actually leads to, I have a trivia question for you, and we'll see if anybody who's watching can do it. Try not to cheat. But since 2001, there have been 12 college coaches who were hired to become first-time NFL head coaches. Only 4 of them have had a winning record with the team that hired them out of college. By the time they were done with their tenure, 4 of them had winning records. One of them is active right now. Can you name any of them?
Brian Kelly, I think, had a winning record at Philly.
You mean Chip Kelly?
Chip Kelly, yeah.
Yep, there's one.
Okay.
He was 26-21.
Nick Saban was 10-12 or 12-10 at Miami. I don't remember which, but it was close. So I'll go Nick Saban, but I think he had a losing record, but it was close.
He was 15-17. You're close.
Oh,
You're
all
close.
Right, 2 off. Yeah. The current one has got to be Kingsbury, right, in Arizona.
23-20-1.
Man, I would. And that means that
there's a really obvious one that as soon as you think of it or I say it, you're going to go, oh, of course.
Well, if you say there's only one current, it can't be the Seahawks coach right now.
No, it's Kingsbury.
Kingsbury, yeah. So that means that the other. Yeah, okay. Man, I keep thinking like Bobby Petrino, who was a train wreck. I don't know. I don't want. This is bad radio. I only got 2 of them. What are the other 2?
Dr. Tang got one. Bill O'Brien in Houston.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
He was 52-48. The best win percentage, nobody got it, 44-19-1. Jim Harbaugh, San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, yeah, because then he went to Michigan, but he came from Stanford, right?
Stanford to San Francisco to U of M. 44-19-1 record in San Francisco. Let him go.
Crazy. Yeah. Oh, guys, he's special, man.
So we'll stick with football, and I'll jump in. The best thing that I saw, if you remember, was a week and a half ago, I think, I talked about Dion Sanders being his first full season at Jackson State ending. It was an FCS school, and I talked about how amazing they were, 11-1. Their only loss was to an FBS team, and like, oh man, look at what Dion did, and it's a historically black college program that he's building, and this is really incredible. And then what happened after I talked about him? Like Travis Hunter, the number 1 or number 2 recruit in the nation, depending on who you read, decommits from Florida State, like of all places, Florida State, to go join Dion in an FCS school. And when it broke, you're the first person I texted, and I couldn't believe it. I was so giddy because of what this meant, and you really explained well what you think the ramifications will be. So take it over.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game changer, man. I mean, first off, you have a coach who's walking into your living room who's got a much better pitch than just the traditional, older white dude who walks in there and says, hey, come play for me. I'm going to help get you to the NFL and this and that. And, like, that's their pitch. When you have Dion walk in there and say, I want to bring back glory to these historically black college universities and, like, bring back this football tradition that we had. Walter Payton went to these schools. Like, this is a big deal to get this back. And Dion has a movement that he can start with it. And then on top of that, he's got an F500 company that's backing him. Screw these donors, man. Like getting $1.5 million in the bag, right? Like as you sign is huge for these kids too. It's going to create some real problems, but it will also mean that it's going to level the playing field because no longer, going to Clemson, Alabama. And let's be honest, man, a lot of these kids are getting paid before this whole NIL thing, right? So a lot of these kids are getting paid already, but now it's on the up and up. Now they can talk about it. Now they can start their brand. I mean, the first thing I said to one of my buddies when he called, he said, "This is terrible." I said, "Who's the number one recruit the last 3 years?" Can you name any of them?
You can't name him.
No, you can name it this year. I mean, the kid's already building a brand, getting something for it. And that's good because you know what? Being the number one recruit coming out of high school means you don't make jack shit. Like, let's be honest here. Like, you're not making the NFL for sure. You're not a guarantee or a lock. There's no money in the line. So all this work this kid's put in, he gets paid for it. He gets an opportunity. And imagine if you get two of these schools that become just powerhouses and you have a Georgia-Alabama level game with five-star talent left, right, and center at these places. And this could completely change college football if you can consistently do this. And if you have a company like Barstool that wants to back you, if you have, God forbid, like CAA or other management organizations that decide they want to back one of these schools, I mean, there are a lot of different directions you can go that could create absolute turmoil in the college environment. I think it's super exciting because I like turmoil.
Same. Yeah, I live for chaos when it comes to stuff like this. I love it. There's nothing that's bad about this. And we were talking to off air about how like you should be scared to death if you're a college program of Dion Sanders. Because there is nothing that anyone can do to pry him away. They cannot offer him anything. Alabama, all the money in the world. He's Dion. He doesn't need your fucking money. Like power. He literally helped them redesign 3 jerseys for the football team in like 3 months after they hired him. That's power that even Nick Saban doesn't have. Like you cannot get this guy away, and he's going to keep doing this. And the less important the college game becomes to get you into the pros. I mean, hell, Jackson State had 4 guys from last year's team that Dion never touched who signed pro tryout contracts. I don't think any of them got drafted, but 4 of them got pro contracts. And these are guys that were probably 2-star, 3-star recruits that went to an FCS school and they got to NFL tryouts. So now Dion is involved. Forget about it.
Yeah, it's incredible, man. And once you get more and more talent around this team, like it's just going to get better and better and bigger and bigger. And if Barstool decides, hey, and by the way, Dion works for Barstool, so kind of match made in heaven there as well. If they decide they're going to really support this organization, you could have like 5 or 6 of these guys all go there, and all of a sudden they're a legit school, and like it creates just chaos, and it really is going to make it harder and harder. And you already saw like Dabo Swinney come out and say, well, it's not about the education. And Dabo, it was never about the education, dude. You're only pissed because this is happening to you. You would not be upset at all if you had this money back in you and you were able to do this. So it's just funny to hear kind of the old school powerhouses coming out and talking against this when it's like, look, guys, you got to change now. You got to evolve. You got to figure out how to do this better. You're going to have situations where it's going to come up. I mean, I'm sure Oregon is going to get some Nike money and some NIL deals from the Ducks going to Nike. Like there's a bunch of different ways you're going to be able to do this. So figure it out, guys.
I mean, you were a pseudo-professional player going to Oregon just because of what Phil Knight's money was giving you as a student athlete. Yeah. At Clemson, don't throw stones at glass houses. You want us to come look at what your student average GPA is for the football team? I don't think you do. Mike, you said we haven't even talked about it. What's the best thing that you saw?
Okay, I love me some horse racing. And one of the things I love about horse racing is
good because we have a show about it.
Yeah, it kind of works, right? It's getting way too excited about debuts, like way too excited. And right before we came on here, a horse named Avow debuted, okay? Can I bet this horse in the Oaks yet? I want to know if I can get ridiculous odds on this horse in the Oaks. I hate Arrogated the sire. Not a fan at all. First out, this horse, he's not been good. I think he's like 10 or 4%, something crazy like that, first-time starters. This horse missed the break by like 3 lengths, like badly missed the break. Ran, I think it was a 6.5 furlong race, 7 furlong race. The horse wants 2 turns. It's Arrogate out of a War Front mare. And oh my God, just gobbles up the ground around the far turn, goes 4 wide, goes past these horses like they're standing still, and then straightens out in the lane and just runs on. There is so much talent in that horse. I haven't been this excited for a horse since like Hidden Scroll, and that didn't turn out well. But I got to see it, and it was incredible in person. Like Avow was amazing. Like just if you have not seen the debut, go watch the debut. It looked like the horse had no chance. As someone who bet another horse in the race, I was so excited after the break, and halfway around the turn, I was demoralized. I knew I had lost. It was just absolutely amazing debut.
That was at Gulfstream today, you said?
Yeah, Gulfstream's last race.
I was getting ready for the show. I saw your tweet, and I was like, well, I need to go make sure I go back and watch that. Speaking of Gulfstream, can we just talk about how pissed I am that should have had that pick 4 on Wednesday? If you go back and listen to the show, I won't bore the details, but the way that I handicapped, I saw every race the way it was run. I just had one horse completely miss the break that was the best one in the opening leg, and then the next leg, I lost the horse to a scratch that it would have gotten the trip that the winner did, and singled a horse that we don't have to talk about.
No, we can talk about Liam. This is one of those things that I swept the card, except for Liam, which is sucks because it's an even money favorite that takes you down. That's never fun. But if you tell me that Liam goes 45-3 for the opening half mile with pressure the entire time, I don't want that horse at even money off a 14-month layoff. So it's I felt like I handicapped it, right? It's just Liam was really good and no one else in there was good enough to kind of run into him. So there was a good debut by Liam. You're going to see Liam in a stakes race next time out. I wouldn't be shocked if you see him a grade 2, grade 3 sprint. It was very impressive what he was able to do.
It's almost like somebody said this is what would happen. If he's going to be this horse that they, then they stretch out maybe not the Pegasus, but they keep looking maybe the Fred Hooper to mile, and they keep seeing what they've got with him here. If he's that kind of a horse, this is the race you try and beat him. You're laughing like crazy. You think I'm nuts, don't you?
Well, if he's that kind of a horse, why is he at 25K now winners of 1? I still have the same question.
To win. That's why
I still have the same. They burnt $40,000 there by not going in a more expensive race. They literally burnt the condition there. Now maybe there's a plan where they want third off the layoff in a specific race and they couldn't get into the condition book, and there's a reason like that. But literally lit 40,000 on fire because that horse could have easily won a much more expensive race.
It was listen. If you combined Mike and I's handicapping techniques along with singling Liam, then you would have connected on that team. You and I, between the two of us, we saw the card pretty well. Just didn't connect, but we're gonna try and connect on Saturday sequence. 3 of these are graded stakes. Then we're end with a really weird turf route we'll talk about. So Mike, let's get into it. Rise up. All right, Mike, here we go. Kicking up late pick 4 sequence at Gulfstream Park on Saturday, December 18th. Race 8 is the grade 3 Sugar Swirl Stakes. There's a field of 8 fillies and mares. 3 end up in here. Why is that highlighted? There we go. Sprinting 6 furlongs on the dirt. Favoritism is on number 3 Frank's Rocket at 9-5. You have the number 5 Center Isle at 2-1 for Paulo Lobo. Pretty much pick your price after that. So what did you do on top?
Just not shockingly, the amount of speed that signed up for this race was incredible. They are going to be flying early here in the Sugar Swirl. And because of that, I spent a while trying to figure out which horse could pick up the pieces. And that ended up being my top pick, the number 7 Bronx Beauty. This is the only horse I really feel like can close. And 8 for 18 at the distance. You get Gaffney on a board first off the layoff. There's not a ton of other reasons I love this horse, simply just other than the fact that there's one horse in this field that can close, and it's the 7 Bronx Beauty. And I expect these fillies to be going 22 and change, 44 and change, and just set up for someone coming from the back. Bronx Beauty's in form right now. We're getting a 6-1 price. I'm going to end up 4 deep here, so I'm not overly confident in this, but if I'm going to take a swing in this race, I'm going to take a swing with a price. I'm not going to put Frank's Rocket on top or something like that.
So I went 3 deep here, and the 3 I used, you also used, including Bronx Beauty. She's 0 for 6 at Gulfstream, which is a little concerning, but actually the lone on-the-board effort was this race last year, and she missed by a head to a horse that won next out. So that tells me whatever her issues were at Gulfstream before, she's probably kicked it last time. I'm definitely going to use her because of what you said, there's a lot of speed, and I think if anyone's going to be picking up all the pieces, it's going to be this horse. On top, I actually went to the rail with Quinoa Tifa. I remember this horse really well when she debuted. It was during the pandemic when Gulfstream was one of 3 tracks running, so I was very closely watching every single race, so I remember her very unique name. She's second off the layoff here. She's a 3-year-old facing olders, but she beat older horses off the bench last time. She set a pretty pressured inside pace and was able to hold on. She's going to get that exact same setup here. She's literally on the rail, going to be speed early, and she's going to have horses to her outside, horses that she's faced before, and then you can see Frank's Rocket or Center Isle get involved as well. But Carlos David, he repeats 21% with last out winners, which tells me when he's got the horse right, he can keep them right. So I think that now that she's got that race off the bench, since she already faced a similar setup to this and won with a little bit of rust, second off, she should be even better, right?
Yeah, you would think so. And I mean, you hit on all the points why I'm using this horse here. I thought that last race was really good. I think you're definitely going to send from the railway, which I think is a positive. Second time out in the Carlos David barn, he's 40% off a layoff of over 180 days. Second time out, it's 2 for 5. So it's not really that significant, but it's still pretty darn good. You get Paco back in the irons. I also think, like, wasn't this horse just kind of campaign weird? I mean, this is This is going to be the 9th start of her career. You take out the last start. The previous 7 starts, we've got 4.5 furlongs, 6 furlongs, 5.5 on turf, 7 off the turf, a mile on the turf, a mile off the turf, 7 furlongs. Never really got to do anything twice in a row. Got moved around here and there. Clearly likes Gulfstream Park. I think sprinting on dirt is what this horse wants to do. 6-1, again, a solid price here. And yes, there is a lot of speed. She's going to have to kind of kick away some of the competitors after being on the lead early, but you're getting a nice price. I think she's got the talent to do it.
The other horse we agreed on is not the one with the short price. It's actually the 4, Laura Lupis, for Saffie Joseph Jr., which, first of all, that's a big reason why I picked her. Saffie's 11 for 44 to start the meet going into today. You're getting a big rider upgrade to Johnny Velasquez. But watch that race that she was in last time out. First of all, she was favored. She was 65 favorite off the bench. Now we're 10-1 here. The only thing that went wrong, she got stuck inside and boxed in on horses. And right when she needed to press go, banged into a couple of horses and lost all of her momentum. So if you go back and watch that replay, I'd argue, you too, Mike, probably since you used her, she was the best horse in that race. And now we're getting a better price. Now we're getting a jockey upgrade. Now nobody's expecting it. Look the F out.
Yeah, I mean, everything, it just kind of seems like all systems go here. And I agree with you. That trip was terrible. Like you mentioned, she was a 6-5 favorite. I love getting the favorite back at a bigger number against horses I think have a legit shot at winning this race, like Quinoa Tifa does on the inside. I also think you have some tactical ability. I think that last race shows that she could close. She just didn't get the opportunity to, which I think is big for a race like this, which just has abundance of speed. So I like the 4 for all the reasons you said. I don't think we're getting 10-1. I think you're going to see a shorter price on the 4 when they go off than you will on the 1. I think you might actually see those two flip. But I do think you're going to get some value. Really, look, the 2 horses that are going to get a ton of play here are going to be Frank's Roquette and Center Isle. I am completely against Center Isle. I have no interest with all the speed up front. I do think Frank's Roquette's a little bit interesting for Mott here. So I am going to use Frank's Roquette as well because I'm going 4 deep. And one of the main reasons is because Frank's Roquette has shown the ability to come from off the pace. And if this horse gets the right setup, she is the best horse in the race. The question is, can she return to the form that she's shown and the price? But losing to Bell's the 1 the last 2 times out, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The race 3 back, she ran her heart out and just missed. 1 race 4 back, lost to Wisconsin, the race 5 back. I mean, this is much better than the horses that are in this field. So I ended up going 4 deep here. I went 1, 3, 4, 7.
Yeah, I think if you're going to use one of the 2 short price horses, you went with the right one. I kept going back and forth, and if I lose some horses in a couple other legs where I went deeper, if I lose some to scratches, I might work Frank's Roquette in here because she's very classy. You outlined her perfectly. Especially in this race, I feel like the favorites are vulnerable enough that I'm going to take some shots with some prices that I like. Let's move on to the second. Oh, actually, before we do, I see in the chat, Chris and, if you guys didn't know, Chris and Nick Sievers are a couple of our longtime listeners and followers, and they were going back and forth on Twitter trying to get us to do Remington versus Gulfstream, offering alcohol. Nobody paid alcohol. Nobody wins. We went with Gulfstream because I think we might end up doing a live stream Friday night of Remington of that stakes action. So, Chris, there's your consolation prize. We might actually do it live, handicapping with Aaron. So,
well, yeah. You're also going to have, I'm putting out the bombs tomorrow with a grid, and I'll have the late pick 4 in the article. So that'll be on the site too if you want to check that out for Remington tomorrow night.
All right, I take it back. Nick's sending us bourbon. Okay, yeah, Nick, you won. Congrats. Send that bourbon to me right away. In the meantime, we'll move on to the second leg of the late pick 4 sequence at Gulfstream on Saturday, December 18th. Race 9 is the Grade 3 Harlan's Holiday Stakes. This is the local prep for the Pegasus World Cup. 6 older males routing a mile and 16th on the dirt. Remember, at Gulfstream, they go mile and 16 on the dirt. The finish line is the 16th pole, so that's very crucial when you're handicapping. Favoritism all the way on the outside. Number 6, Fearless for Todd Pletcher, Luis Saez. On the rail, your 2020 Queen's Plate champion, Mighty Heart, at 9-5. I wanted so badly, Mike, to use these 2 horses and just eat the chalk and move on. I didn't do it. I split the wickets here, but I won't tell you who I did. Who'd you use?
Yeah, well, so I put Fearless on top. I think Fearless gets the setup here. Look, Mighty Heart outside of Toronto, really not that great. Really outside of Canada, hasn't done all of that much. I think it's got 1 win at Churchill, but it wasn't that fast. The Fractions was able to get an easy lead. Everything else, all the other wins have come up in Toronto. I think 3 or 4 of them have come at Woodbine over the synthetic. They also come on the front end, and there's a horse right to the outside, Blue Steel, who's going to make Mighty Heart's life miserable. So I'm not going to use Mighty Heart specifically because of that. I did use Fearless, so I think it's going to get the setup. And I went too deep as well. We went too deep. I know you went with Fearless. I'm going to use Eye of the Jedi, not just because I'm a homer for Eye of the Jedi, but because Eye of the Jedi loves some Gulfstream Park, okay? And I realize the last two weren't great, but you don't wheel back into this race if you don't think the horse still has the ability to get back to what we saw last year, which was winning the Grade 3 Ghost Sapper, which was running second to Performer. This horse is good over this track, ran second in this race actually last year. I feel like we do this race every year too.
Yes,
anyway.
we do.
I think Eye of Jedi if we can return to form, this horse is good enough to win this race, especially with the pace setup you're going to see up front. With the 1 and the 2 banging heads up front, it sets up beautifully for a closer. The 3 closers are on the outside, the 4, the 5, and the 6. I think the 6 is the class of those closers. I think the 4 has the upside over the 5. And so I'm going to have 2 deep here. I'm going to go with the 4 and the 6. Now tell me, how in the world do you think someone's going to wire this field?
Marks, how is Fearless not a single here? I actually went into this thinking I was going to single Fearless. I am using Blue Steel for one reason. There are 3 scenarios that happen. Mighty Heart gets a lone speed, wins gate to wire. The 1 and the 2 battle each other. They wear each other out. Someone like Fearless, Eye of a Jedi wins. We're both thinking that's the most likely route. Everybody in the chat's thinking that. Paco Lopez is on Blue Steel. Paco Lopez knows as well as anybody that the only way that horse to his inside wins is if that horse goes gate to wire. Paco knows he's on a horse that needs to do the same thing. Paco knows that horse doesn't really love dirt, does not like kickback. Paco, imagine this, out of the gate, a little to the left, leans on the horse, Mighty Heart, maybe stubs his toe, not exactly the fastest. If anything happens to where Paco gets an edge on Mighty Heart, that horse is going to get shuffled, he's going to get behind, he's going to get dirt in his face, and he ain't going to be anywhere close to the front. And Blue Steel could get loose on going gate to wire. It's a very, very crazy scenario, but you tell me that's not the craziest thing that could possibly happen in this race.
I don't. I
It's
see.
Paco.
I realize it's Paco, but Paco would need to strap a rocket up his own ass to be able to get Blue Steel home down the lane, because this horse has nothing close to an effort that is good enough to beat the 4, the 5, or the 6 if any of them run close to their race. I mean, Blue Steel has to run the A+++ juiced effort, and Fearless Jedi, Eye of the Jedi, and South Bend all have to decide they're just going to take the weekend off to be able to, for Blue Steel to be able to get to wire. There's not a single race you can point to. And it's one thing to be like, oh, Eye of the Jedi, he's going to be able to bounce back. It's another thing like Blue Steel is going to go from $8,000 allowances to winning a graded stakes 2 starts later.
He did win the Claiming Clown.
Claiming Crown is good. Claiming Clown is fine.
Claiming Clown, that actually is better. The Claiming Clown Iron Horse Stakes. It was over this course in distance, so that's the way I know he could handle the distance. Again, this is a huge
77 buyer.
Crazy scenario, yeah. If you did want to go, if you wanted to go short here, I really do think Fearless could be a pretty solid single. Do you have an issue if somebody looked at this and said, I want a single Fearless?
No, not at all. No, I mean, I'm taking South Bend. It was mentioned in the chat. Mark mentioned it. He burns money going 2 turns. I have no interest in South Bend here. And if you're chucking out South Bend and you're like me and you think that the 2 is the 2 is 100% sending,
yes,
which means that you're chucking out the 1. I don't think the 3 is good enough. That leaves the 4 and the 6. If you don't like Eye of the Jedi, I don't see any reason why you don't single Fearless.
Move on to the third leg of the late pick 4 sequence at Gulfstream Park on Saturday, December 18th. The penultimate race, race 10, the Grade 2 Fort Lauderdale Stakes. We got an overdrawn field of 13 older males going a mile and 1/8 on the turf course. A couple Chad Browns in here. Your favorite, number 2, L'Imperador at 5-2. He also has the 4-1 third choice. Analyze it down here. Mike Maker's got 3. They're either 12-1, 20-1, or 20-1. So if you're interested in playing a Maker, you're going to be able to name your price. You also have Doswell and Breaking the Rules, who were 2nd and 3rd by like a nose in this race last year. They're both in this race. I didn't use either one of them though, so I'm gonna chuck both of those. What did you do on top?
I almost used Doswell, but didn't quite make the ticket.
Yeah.
I ended up with the 8. Analyze it on top. I think Analyze has got a good shot at wire in this field. I think you're going to see him get a lead up front and be able to kind of hold him off. You have like Sol Volante, and you got a couple others in here that want the lead. But I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get it from Analyze It, which I think is kind of the key here. I think Analyze It is going to send. Hernandez has been good at the meet. He rode really well today. Got another win. And if Analyze It's able to get loose up front, I think Analyze It is awfully dangerous. Even with a little pressure, I think Analyze It is awfully dangerous here at the Gulfstream Park track, just because of how well speed has been playing over this course right now. So I have Analyze It on top. I am going to use the other Chad Brown, the 2-horse. I'm going to butcher this name for you real quick. La Imperator. Let's go with that,
Sure.
right? Yeah, La Imperator or something like that. So yeah, I think the 2 Chad Browns make a ton of sense here. I am going to use a bomb of a price though. It's 20-1, but not any of the ones you mentioned. Did you use the 2 and the 8?
The same way. I put Analyze It on top. I went 4 deep in the complete defensive views. I don't like L'Imperator that much, but I don't want if I left him off and he won, I shouldn't come back on the show the next time. That would be a really bad mistake.
Well, I mean, if you don't like him at all, you can leave him off because he's gonna be the favorite, right? And so like if you want to chuck the favorite, I wouldn't make you fun of you for that. If you chuck the 8-1 Chad Brown that you kind of like, then I would make fun of you. He's going to be a really bad price. I think that's my biggest concern. I think he's going to be a bad price, almost unplayable. Yep.
So you said you have a 20-1 that you like. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I've liked this horse before. I'll like this horse again. I'm going to use English B here. Third off the layoff, 5-year-old season. Look, I like English channels as they get older. English B likes Gulfstream Park. I think those are both positive. So English B, 5 races, 1 win, 2 seconds over this course. And if you go back and you look at what English B has been able to accomplish in the 4-year-old season specifically, you've got this 97, 99, 97, 96 buyers, all very strong. The first 2 races out of the gate, English B wins, which you can't really take anything away from the horse at Colonial, then runs on Keeneland over a good track. The other efforts over good track haven't been that wonderful. But when we get back to firm turf, you've seen this horse excel. If English B is able to give firm turf, which he should be able to on Saturday, English B can beat this field. And at 20-1, I'm willing to take a shot here, third off the layoff, with Saya's up, who's been they're like ridiculously hot right now at Gulfstream. And I think he's going to get the right setup to be able to win. So give me the 4 English B at 20-1.
Saya's 12 for 43 coming into today. Safi 11 for 44. Imagine if those two teamed up, just be pure fireworks. I looked at this horse. I think this horse has got a great shot to hit the board at a price. I don't know if I want to play him here. I'm curious to see where Graham goes next. So this is technically the prep for the Pegasus World Cup turf. So these horses, you would think if they do well, that's where they'll go next. But there's also the William L. McKnight, which is a 1.5 mile race. Maybe, being by English Channel out of a Kitten's Joy mare should be able to handle, 1.5 miles pretty easily. So is this a warm-up for that, even though the horse has never gone that distance? But either way, one I'll be watching closely. And you're going to – I know that's a price you're going to love, too, on a horse you like.
Yeah, you're getting 20-1 all day there. And I agree in the chat, Mark's mentioning maybe 1.1 miles. Nick's mentioning, Preakness Day was unbelievable how loaded English B was. And Mark's mentioning how 1.1 miles may not be the best distance. I think the horse is bred to go longer. The 1.1 miles effort isn't great. So there is some concern there. But the horse should be able to run all day being English Channel out of a Kitten's Joy. So I don't have concern around the distance. And I think there is going to be enough early hoof here that you're going to see some pace to run into.
I am using 2 of the 3 Mike Maker horses because of the third one, what I think he'll actually do with it. So I really think that the 10 Order in Law is the one that I'm not going to use. I think this horse is going to be used a little bit of a rabbit to soften up Analyze It. This is a horse that really, out of the 3 that he has it here, I think belongs the least, has the most amount of speed. Could easily be a rabbit in here, even be a violence. But putting Vasquez aboard, I'm like, I think this horse is just going to be kind of used to try and set up for somebody else. The 11 Atone was actually my second horse in this race at 12-1. This horse has shown pretty steady form improvement all 4 starts since Mike Maker has taken over. If this horse continues on that improvement line, this horse could win this race with that buyer improvement. Did get a win at Saratoga earlier this year, which I think is a really big deal. Solid effort last time out. Seems to be in peak form, like I said. And let's say Analyze It gets softened up by Order in Law or somebody else. I think this is one of the first horses going to get first shot at him. Is he strong enough to hold off everybody coming behind him? Maybe not, but I think that he definitely will get a first shot. I also use the 7 Media Blitz in here. First off the claim for Mike Maker, going straight into the big company. Now, this is actually a really bad angle for Mike Maker. He's 1 for 14 when he goes first off a claim into graded stakes, 3 for 43 when he goes first off a claim into any kind of stakes. But who's the owner of this, Mike? It's Mike Maker. He plunked down $100,000 on a 4-year-old horse of his own money to get this horse for this race, and I think that he thinks this horse will go here into the Pegasus World Cup turf, and he's got his whole classic Mike Maker older turf horse progression map planned out, and that's why I have to use this horse.
Yeah, man, but Lannery's up, and that, like, they're 1 for 30 together, I think it is. Like, if he really thought this horse had a legit shot, you think he'd put Lannery on the horse?
That's what I'm trying to – I was looking at the wrong horse there. Let me find it. 7-7. Yeah, they're 1 for 30. Yep, you're correct.
Yeah, it's like to me that's one of the big question marks. We also have a West Coast turf horse coming east, which normally we don't love either. So
He did win at Churchill. He won at Churchill back in May.
I'm not going to talk you off any maker horses 20-1. That's the bottom line. Like all three of these makers, totally fine. If it's a longer turf race and Mike Maker has a horse, I like, yeah, it could win, but right. I do think Atone's awfully interesting. I will give you that. Atone is an horse that's been on the improve, 4-year-old late in the season. Another logical step forward here. Look, I've considered the 11 and the 12. I hate these posts for these horses, though. I mean, it is absolutely treacherous for like against very good horses. What you need to do to be able to win from those outside posts at Gulfstream is really tough. So the 11 and the 12 got downgraded for me pretty heavily because of the post positions.
I'm looking to see if anybody, everybody on the chat's pretty much with us. Tyler Gaffleone is usually Mike Maker's top guy in Florida. He's going to be on Space Traveler in this race for Brendan Walsh. And now the one for using, we can talk about real quick. I think he's going to be way too short of a price. I hate the post like you mentioned. I also think that he didn't get the job done against what I would say is lesser or equal company to what he's facing here. So you combine all of those factors. When he was 10-1 or higher in both of those, now 3-1, it scared me.
Yeah, I mean, the price is obviously something that I have absolutely no interest in from that post position. And then on top of that, like, I'm not so sure this is getting longer is going to be better for this horse. I mean, we had 3 efforts at a mile, and now we're kind of stretching out here. So I'm sorry, we had the first effort at a mile and a quarter, but the last 2 at the mile, I think that distance might suit this horse better. And so I'm just not so sure we want to be going a mile and an eighth here.
We'll move on to the 4th and final leg of the late pick 4 sequence at Gulfstream Park on Saturday, December 18th. And it's a little bit of an odd one because this is a maiden turf route, mile on the 16th, for 2-year-old males. They attracted 16 of them. We only get 9 of them to run. Is this because the synthetic track is in there now? I was like, how are we're losing half the field as also eligibles in this race? I don't understand it, don't like it, but I can tell you that the favorites, number 5 misbehaved at 2-1 for Todd Pletcher. And you also have Chad Brown with the number 9 Ridley's Major. Did you know Gun Runner is 0 for 10 on turf as a sire? I did. I found that out looking at this. Ridley's Major trying to be the first Gun Runner to win on turf. Did you pick him on top?
I did not pick him on top. I went to the inside with Immokalei. I'm Makali. I'm Mokali. I'm gonna go. I'm Mokali. It's because it's definitely I'm, and then Mokali. Yeah, I'm going on Mokali.
It's an unincorporated community in Central Florida.
That doesn't help me pronounce it, Magic. Anyway,
I was going to guess Hawaii. Anyways, yeah.
Okay. Immokalei, whatever. Look, this horse first time out faced a monster field with a Stellar Tap and Keep Calm, Carry On. Both of those horses ended up being stakes caliber horses. We ran 3rd here. We were able to close some ground and just kind of flattened out around the turn. The second race, just throw the thing completely out. The horse was on the inside, didn't like it at all. Got a bunch of mud kicked back in its face, just completely stopped, right? Take a nice little layoff here. Now we're getting onto the turf, which I think is interesting. This horse has early speed, should get a pretty solid position. Like I'd expect Alvarado to use a little bit out of the gate and then sit right behind the leaders and be able to sit the pocket trip. I think 9-2 is actually a pretty generous price for a horse that's already shown talent in that first debut effort. And now is getting onto the grass. Curlins are just fine on grass. So I don't have any issue with the surface change here. I think Immokalei is going to be one of those horses that could get the job done here at a nice price at 9-2 and has a significantly better post position than the 9 horse who's going to end up going off as your favorite.
9-2 is a nice price. He was 13-1 on debut and 5-1 the second time out. I don't know how much I agree with that one. I don't like this horse at all. This horse, first of all, OXO Equine's strike rate with these horses, especially the high ones, it's about as good as it's about as. I'm not going to finish that. It's bad.
They burn more money than South Bend does going 2 turns.
There you go. That's the appropriate way to say it. I looked at the pedigree because I wanted to try to like this horse because it's Bill Mott and it's Junior Alvarado, but there's no successful turf pedigree anywhere on the dam side. You're right, Curlins can handle it. How is this the one Curlin that didn't like a muddy track, by the way? I think we finally found like a unicorn, the Curlin that doesn't like mud.
It was the inside thing. If you go watch the replay, the horse just had no interest on being on the inside and getting all that kickback.
That's true. If for whatever happens, we get a Florida tropical storm and this gets washed off, and you had this horse, get this horse off your ticket immediately because it's the exact goddamn same scenario in this spot here. My top pick, I'm actually going to go with the 8-1 number 8 Scarab on top. I really like this horse a lot. Kelsey Danner, the trainer, really stronger than the average trainer in this kind of a situation. First-time starters, 13%. Okay, that's slightly above average. Firsters at or greater than a mile, debuting 19% with a positive ROI. First-timers on turf, 22% with a positive ROI. The Sire Cairo Prince, 13% with debut 2-year-olds, 13% with turf routers. Those figures are both above average. Sharp recent works around the dogs. You see that 47 flat is the last one for the work. Full sibling to Abyssinian, who was a multiple stakes placed turf sprinter. My God, I can't speak today. For Wesley Ward, who, get this, the horse won at age 2 for Wesley Ward. So that bodes well for this horse as well. And then finally, Scarabs was a secret society in my fraternity during college, and I cannot confirm or deny my participation as a Scarab, but I will just say that I will not be allowed to play this ticket without Scarab on it.
So you confirm. Is that what you're saying?
I cannot confirm or deny.
You said, but you were part of it. You confirmed it in your sentence.
God damn it.
Good pick. This was my other must use. At 8-1, I thought this horse makes a ton of sense to use in every way, shape, and form. That last workout is what really jumps off the page. As you mentioned, like we talk all the time about trainers that are better debuting long than debuting short. That is specifically what Kelsey Danner is better at. Say a higher percentage in the long debuts and the short debuts. It should be all systems go here for Scarab. And I think you might see some speed, which I think is important from that 8 post. Can I give you a wild one? Can I get a little kooky on you?
Sure.
Let's go to the 3 horse.
That's my next up. I'm not kidding. That's number 2.
Unbelievable. All right. Well, how about you talk about the 3, and then I will.
Are you gonna make me pronounce? You're gonna make me pronounce it. That's why you did that. So Sua Summer is how I'm gonna say that. 15-1. And it's the same thing as Scarab a little bit that you just mentioned. It's the works. Those last 2 works got real fast, real quick. It's pretty small connections. Not known for firing first time out. 1 for 7, I think. But Summerfront, 12% debut 2-year-olds, 12% turf routes. Again, both slightly above average. Summerfront won 2 times at Gulfstream Park on the turf, including the Fort Lauderdale. So I think there'd be a nice little bit of symmetry that on Fort Lauderdale Day, this son of Summerfront debuts and wins at a really nice price. The Grand Dam won her debut at 2, and while the Dam is unraced, both older siblings who did win also won at age 2. So there's a lot of signs that say if you just ignore the connections, this horse could be kind of sneaky.
Well, don't completely ignore the connections, because Hector Berrios can get a number home on the Gulfstream turf.
True.
And you know how he does it? He sends that horse. And this is one of those spots where I can't for sure tell you who's going to be on the lead, but I could tell you it could be Sosua Summer. It could be the 3 horse who's got the workouts. And you didn't mention the workout that actually caught my eye. There you go. See, look, Michael Myers knows what he's talking about. You didn't mention the workout that caught my eye, the 35 workout at Palmettos. So you got a 35-second workout on there. You got 47 on there. Like, the horse clearly has some early turn of foot. Barrios is going to 100%. Well, I expect Barrios. We'll say 75% chance. Barrios sends this horse. First horse to the turn is going to be huge in this spot, because all of the big-time closer, the big-time horse in this race, so let's talk about, like, obviously the 9 is a closer, right? So the 9's going to have to make its own trip. The question is who's going to be on the lead. I think it's the 1, the 3, or the 8. That's why those are the other 3 I'm using. I think those are the 3 that are most likely. I love the price here on the 3.
Yeah, it's a really great one. The last one that I used is going to be the very last horse on my entire ticket is going to be the 4 Jukebox Juju. I went back and forth on this horse, and I'm not sure if this horse is going to continue the trend that Mike Stidham is kind of strong like Kelsey Danner, or be the antithesis here, because Stidham, first-time starters, 17%, first-timers on turf, 20%, debuting at or greater than a mile, 13%, which is less than Kelsey Danner, but is still much higher than average. I think the average for this is like 8%. But there are some negatives, a lot of slow works, but they were mostly on synthetic, so maybe the Stidham knows this horse really wants turf. The Dam was 0 for 11 on turf, which isn't that great, and Unified as a sire, 0 for 12 on turf. So a lot of things telling me that this horse might not be good. I'm on the bench or on the fence about this. I'm using, but it's not a confident use, if you can tell.
0 for 11 might not be good, huh? That's might not.
And it was Mike Maker training the Dam, 0 for 11. She had 2 seconds and 2/3, but yeah, she was 0 for 11.
I'm going to go with slightly bad sign instead of, okay, you can have your 4. I'm going to use the 9. I'm going to use the Chad Brown horse, who I do think is the best horse in the race, but has the worst post position and the worst odds. So that is concerning for me. But in this type of race where I'm taking a couple swings, I have this horse as my 3rd overall pick in the race. So I'm going to use Ridley's Matrix here, who I do like. I just don't love the post position of the price, but I do want to make sure I have this horse if I am live this last leg. So I'm going to end up 4 deep here. I'm going to go 1, 3, 8, 9, and hope we can get 15-1 on the 3. I actually may bet the 3 at 15-1 if we're able to get that price. And this is an interesting sequence too from a double perspective, because if you like a horse in the last race, you're going to, when it's a big field, you can play a nice double in here, and you can play to the 1, to the 3, to the 8, to whoever your favorite horse is, anyone but the 9, and you're going to get a huge overlay from a price perspective just by playing a straight double or going 1 there and 2 here, just because of the field size, and then into the prices that you like here.
Real quick, because there are 7 horses here that may race, may not. Was there anyone, if you looked at the also eligibles, who caught your eye? Because if he gets in, the 11 Ghost in You is a little interesting. This is, to me, he's the son of Ghost Zapper debuting for Safi, and I talked about Safi's numbers, how well he's doing. Edwin Gonzalez is going to be riding, and they're very strong together during the summer. I'll just be curious if this horse makes it in, what he does. It is going to be a tough post for him.
Yeah, I mean, the 10, the 11, and the 15 all seem interesting to me. The 14 was a shorter priced horse in a couple pretty good races up in Saratoga, the grade 3 with anticipation included. So there's a ton of talent in the also eligibles here. The problem is going to be the post. And the question is going to be who's out. Because, if we have some of the horses that we're talking about that we think maybe speed, the 1, the 3, and the 8, if they come out and all of a sudden you're drawing in a horse like the 15, and then all of a sudden you're drawing in a horse like, let me make sure I get this right. If you're drawing a horse in like the 14, who's going to be more forwardly placed, then you're going to have to kind of change up your handicap a little bit. So the key here is figuring out, okay, who's in, who's out, because like the 15 as well, 47 out of the gate, multiple bullet works. You'd expect that horse to be forwardly placed. So there's a couple in here you have to question. The 10 to me, I think, looks really dangerous too. Air Force Blue, Christophe Clement. I mean, that horse could be very good first time out as well.
I forgot to mention I did use the 5 misbehaved defensively here, but I think I'm willing to let Todd Pletcher have one more shot with this horse. We're putting the blinkers on. That last effort out turf did not work well. This horse clearly burns money a lot, so I'm not excited about it. But I didn't want to get this far, Mike, and have Todd Pletcher knock me out. I didn't want to have him or Chad Brown knock me out, but I can't use both of them, and I like the Pletcher. I dislike the Pletcher less than I dislike the Brown. How about that?
I don't know what happened that last race. And that was the biggest problem for me. I mean, I watched that replay and the horse tripped out and just sucked.
I hit the gas and the horse just went.
And that's a problem when it's like when I have one turf effort to look at, that just, it scares me too much, especially at a short price. So I think the 5 will sit a good trip and definitely could win this race. I'm good. You can burn someone else's money.
He's a full brother to Into Mystic, who is a multiple stakes winner. Turf sprinting, can't really go like a lick beyond 6.5, 7 furlongs. That's another thing that may be a little about this, but we'll see. It's Pletcher, it's Saez, we're adding a hood, speed favoring turf, maybe something will work here. I don't know. If this horse loses and we can get the 3 home to finish this at 15-1, I think you and I will both be pretty happy.
Yep. Can we both win? Do we have?
We do have, yeah, I think it does work out that way.
Yeah, there's a route. There's a route.
There is. It's a skinny route, but it's a route. That's going to do it for this episode of the Magic Mike Show. Thanks for joining Mike and I to talk about the late pick 4 sequence at Gulfstream on Saturday, December 18th. If you're watching the show live or the replay, thanks for joining us. Take a look below. We have our tickets there for you. I will go ahead and give mine out for you. First, 147 with 26 with 27811 with 3458 for $48. Mike, same price, very different structure.
Yeah, we're just slightly different here. So I'm gonna play a 50-cent pick 4 as well. I'm gonna go with the 1, 3, 4, 7 with 4, 6 with 2, 4, 8 with 1, 3, 8, 9. That'll cost you $48 for 50 cents.
So if you want to play our combined tickets, it's 147 with the 6 with the 2, 8 with the 3-8. So yeah, you can actually we got some pretty decent overlap there. Listen, this was a lot of fun. Thanks everybody for joining us. Before we get out of here, we've got today's Thursday, right? Yeah, Thursday Night Football. By the way, it's Jared Welch's birthday. I don't know if anybody knew that. It is his birthday. I know Blinkers Off was live earlier because the Chiefs are on Thursday Night Football. So Mike, with Thursday Night Football, the Chiefs are -3 last I saw, playing in Los Angeles where it is currently 52 degrees and very cloudy and very cold. So on the one hand, I would say Kansas City has the advantage because LA is not used to being this cold. Apparently, Kansas City's got LA weather right now, so it might be a culture shock for them. How are you playing this game?
Man, like I think I'm probably not going to bet the game beforehand. If I played anything, I'd play the over. I feel like the Chiefs' defense is they've been fortunate to be so improved over the last 5 games on this winning streak. I expect them to give up some points here. So I think that you could lean toward the over there. Specifically, I kind of like the first half over. I think both these teams are going to come out absolutely guns a-blazing. So I do like the first half over quite a bit. I like Kansas City in the game. I don't have any interest in laying the 3. That's my problem. So I'm probably going to wait until in-game and see if I can catch something in-game where I can play Kansas City on the money line and get somewhere between -120, 125, something like that. Or I'll wait toward the end of the half. And if I have a situation where Casey has the ball last in the first half, first in the second half, I'll wait and play there. Yeah, the COVID in sports right now is causing a whole bunch of problems, man. It's in hockey, you have teams that are decimated. NFL is getting absolutely knocked up now. Like it's ridiculous how bad COVID is hitting some of these places. But yeah, I think tonight's game is a really fun one to watch. Don't have a huge opinion on it.
My biggest advice for tonight's game, especially because it's Jared Welch's birthday, if Kansas City loses at the last second, don't call Jared immediately after the game and leave a voicemail. That's just going to be my advice, just in general.
What about calling him and just sing him happy birthday?
Again, if they lose, just don't call Jared, and that's where the sentence ends, I believe.
Yeah,
I think we just end the sentence there. Don't call him. Don't text him. Just, for his sake, man, I can't believe that. Listen, when we did that originally, I don't think we weren't thinking. I was going to try and defend ourselves. There's no defense for that.
No, that was we weren't sober, and that's the justification.
We weren't sober. We were doing, actually, it was back when we were doing live shows and we had no idea what the hell we were doing. We'd gotten slightly better than that. Dr. Miranda in the house. She might be late to the party, but did Mike get a new fade?
I did. I've been so I haven't gotten a new haircut in 20 some odd years, since like literally high school, and so I've been rotating through trying new haircuts, and so this is the tightest I've gotten it so far. I don't like it this short, so I think I'm going to go back to the little less short. And this I haven't gotten cut, so I think this is going to get cut, and this is going to get longer, and then we'll figure out what to do with it. But we're just having fun. If anyone has suggestions, let me know.
Speaking of having fun, how much fun are your St. Louis Blues having fun? COVID goalies, you don't need them. You guys, Lindbergh. I thought it was just the Detroit Red Wings making Lindbergh look like a Vezina winner, but no, he's actually. I've kept watching. I watched the Dallas game. I was like, man, these guys are fun to watch.
Well, it's just a mess because it's just crazy. It's just crazy right now with COVID and just the players that are in and out. I mean, against you guys, we had a player score a hat trick in his first career game, his first time he got called up. Like you get to see a lot of the kids, which is kind of cool. But it's at some point you're going to see the NBA or the NHL pause the season. Yeah. I think it's going to be the NHL. But you're going to see one of the two pause the season. I think that honestly, the NHL may be so fortunate that there's the Olympic break, because they already have a 3-week break in the schedule built in where they can just hit the pause button if they need to.
Over at racingdudes.com, and I agree with you, Calgary's already postponed for like a week and a half, which in fantasy is completely screwing me when you've got a bunch of teams playing Calgary in the next week and a half. Over at racingdudes.com/sports, the latest episode of Dudes Who Bet Sports was earlier today. You can catch the replay for that, the podcast, or the YouTube. Go to youtube.com/racingdudes. All of our videos, they just show up right there. So if you subscribe, they'll just show up right in your feed. Like I mentioned, we've got Kansas City at LA. Yeah, Kansas City, LA. That's what it is later tonight. Cheer for Jared Welch to have a nice little birthday present at Kansas City to get a win there.
I hope they win. I have them winning the division plus 175. So this is the big one. We need this one.
This is the big one. Last thing. Good chalk or bad chalk? Are you doing that tonight? I saw Michael ask about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped. We got good chalk, bad chalk. We have both Remington and Remington's back second. It's tomorrow's closing night, but they're running on Thursday. They switched their schedule back. So we've got Remington and Charlestown tonight. Pretty excited about that. And then the Pick 5 just kicked off at Turfway Park, which is a carryover as well. So that's fun. I think we'll probably talk about those races if we have time in between them. But yeah, make sure you check it out on the Equinedge feed. Should be a lot of fun. You talk, and I'll drop in my pick 4 here that I have live. This is what's left of my pick 5.
All right. I know Blinkers Off was live earlier today, too, again, because Jared's birthday. So however you're listening to us, you can listen to them. Same resources. We've got the Gulfstream Park. There's 5 stakes, 4 of them graded on Saturday. So we'll be covering that over racenews.com. We also have the Springboard Mile, which is Remington Park's closing night on Friday. That we might be doing a live stream show, so stay tuned for that one. If you remember Drunk Aaron from the Breeders' Cup, he'll be less drunk, but I'm sure he'll still be a little drunk when he shows up on that one. And that is Kentucky Derby prep race, as Aaron and Jared called it. So make sure you tune into that one. That race, by the way, is the reason why our fantasy league draft is not being held until next week, because Aaron needs to draft the winner. It's just a rule.
Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
All right, what you've got left? Oh, you put it in the chat. I see it down there. So this is what you've got going left for
the pick 5. So I was 5-6 in the first leg, and that's the rest of it. So I think you can play a pick 4 here. If you want to shorten the first leg, I would be 2-4-6 instead of all of those. And if you wanted to single, I would single the 10 in the second leg.
Follow us on Twitter. I am at Curtis Kalleward. He is at Somobomb18, number 1, number 8, Corporal Warlords, at Racing_Dudes. Once again, go to racenews.com. We have everything that you need, horse racing, and racenews.com/sports. Free picks for NFL, college football, and NHL picks are all right there. We'll be back on Monday to talk about all the action and possibly preview something next week. Until then, I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
Good luck this weekend, everybody.
The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.